This podcast contains an English accent that most of our Irish listeners will find offensive. Also, there may be some colourful language that you're going to find less offensive. Now, over to Ryan and Leon. Enjoy the podcast.
The poem, it says, friendship is a priceless gift that cannot be bought in our soul, but its value is far greater than a mountain made of gold. For gold is cold and lifeless, it can neither see nor hear, and in time of trouble it is powerless to cheer. Gold, it has no ears to listen, no heart to understand. It cannot not bring you comfort or reach out a helping hand. So when you ask God for a gift, be thankful if he sends, not diamonds, pearls, or riches, but the love of real, true friends.
Friends!
Ooh, football friends.
Oh, poetry friends.
Poetry friends.
Hi, friend.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
It's been a while. I missed you, friend. How are you?
I miss you, friend.
Who was that man speaking there?
That was Muhammad Ali.
Jesus.
Did you know about that?
The
skills.
hench poet of all time.
He's got some skills, outside the ring. That he'll just turn it on. In like, to be fair, the only times you can hear him do these poems are in Parkinson from 1985, BBC television interviews. But every time he's not planning it. He just goes, "Oh, I got a poem for you." And goes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, just naturally. He's a natural showman, though.
Yeah,
and all the quotes that there's so many. He's like the Oscar Wilde of boxing. He just has all these quotes.
Well, what Wilde boxed, didn't he? Heavyweight. He was champion at Trinity.
It's the Darndale champion.
Yeah,
Darndale heavyweight champion.
I know. Well, that's the thing. He was boxing champion at Trinity.
Okay.
I do think that matters.
He was fighting dandies.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'd do much in Darndale.
You never know.
I don't think he'd be. You
never know. He could be hitting them with his quotes.
Well,
sharp words.
We'll share more Muhammad Ali poems at another point. 'Cause he's got a great one called Truth, and there's another one he does about a story about a prisoner who's confronted by a police officer, and he said, "Listen, if you don't get out of this cell now, I will shoot you." And the poem is what the prisoner would say. So wow. I think what we'll do on the next show is share that, because I had no idea that he could do that.
Did you go down a Muhammad Ali rabbit hole?
You do that, don't you? Sometimes. Yeah. It's a good rabbit hole to be down, actually.
Yeah. My TikTok knows that I like watching old boxing fights, and I've watched most of him and Mike Tyson, all them fights. Yeah. But once I start watching the poems, I think then I'll start getting all the Muhammad Ali, different, all his different rhetoric and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. YouTube will tell you what your personality is after you search for two things. That's the annoying thing about YouTube, especially when you don't sign in. If you forget to sign in and you type in something, the whole screen.
Really?
That's just you now.
Do you know my TikTok thinks I'm far right? It's trying to militarize me, I think it is.
Oh, God.
It's mad. What happens is whenever something's going on, I watch, you go on TikTok and you can see things firsthand, people going on live and stuff like that. So I watched a few of them, trying to get the gist of what was going on.
Like the Kulak videos or something.
And now you're getting, it's just all that. It's like, hang on a second, I only wanted to see who was being nosy. I don't want to get involved.
That's the annoying thing is if you're on that video for 10 seconds, boom, that's you now.
It's like, that's you now. And now I'm just getting it all the time. It's mad how algorithms work, and it's like, oh, you like one thing? Well, here's 5,000 of the same thing.
Fair. But are you going to Kulak later? Or?
No, I think I'll avoid it.
We opened with that from Ali because today is our friendship special.
That's it.
Where we talk about poetry, about friends, the power of friendship, the power of human connection, maybe as well. But before we do that, do you remember last week we did we were talking about why we write, and I shared on Instagram a question of why does everyone write? Loads of people follow us who write, and loads of great responses, and most of it was I have to write, I don't have a choice, it's in my blood, my soul, if I don't write it wrecks my head. But then one person got in touch who wasn't a poet, from what I saw,
really?
From when this person followed us, responded with a poem from someone called Tiffany Hannon, who since sending us this has created a separate poetry account. So
no way.
Yeah, but she said she's new to sharing stuff, and this is her poem that I'll share with you. So this is Tiffany Hannon with Why Do I Write? I write to breathe the world in ink, to trace my thoughts, to pause and think, to capture moments, pure and true, and paint them fresh in vivid hue. I write to spill what words conceal, the depths of what my heart may feel, to weave the whispers of my mind in stories I can only find. I write to wander through the past, to hold the fleeting moments fast, to dream of futures yet unseen, in lines where hope and fears convene. I write to touch the soul's deep core, to open up a hidden door, to share the silent secret cries that live behind my waking eyes. I write to mend, I write to break the silence that my soul may ache, to craft a world where I am free to be the truest form of me. In every word, in every line, I find a piece of the divine, a voice that echoes, clear and bright. This is why, with love, I write.
That was Tiffany Hannon, Why We Write.
Imagine getting that in the DMs as a response.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I love that.
She can slide in my DMs any day with a poem like that. That's fucking poem was incredible.
Yeah, she's now. We'll share when we put the poster out on the socials. We'll make sure we link Tiffany's new poetry account, and yeah, she's been posting quite a lot recently, and yeah, just as profound and insightful as that one there.
Do you reckon I have a hunch that this isn't her first poem?
No, probably not.
Probably her first. Yeah, like she's probably sitting on a treasure trove of poems and now is releasing them.
Yeah,
slowly but surely, because that there's a confidence with that writing that you wouldn't have if it was your first poem. There's a very good flow through it and a very good grasp of what they're doing and how to, and like it's just there's so much depth to that poem.
A lot of depth. Took my breath away actually, some of them lines.
Yeah,
I have to say.
That's my first time here. I've never. That's incredible.
I didn't even tell you we were sharing it.
Yeah, you kept that on your sleeve.
I have a little bit. Yeah,
you're wearing a t-shirt and you kept it under your sleeve.
Yeah, I loved it. Thanks,
good.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about friendship. The real reason we're talking about friendship is we were at a book launch of Sean Watmore's new collection.
We love Sean Watmore.
We do. I'm going to share a poem of his later on. But we met for the first time in person Lee Sheridan.
Oh yeah,
who runs his own press, Lewin Press,
the mega mind,
in
the publishing world.
And he came and he sat with us all day, I should say, day drinking in the pub. And his friend turned up, and he introduced him as his best friend.
Yeah,
and me and you looked at each other going like, "That's lovely,
it's so lovely,
that's lovely." Isn't it?
He was like, "This is my best friend.
This is my best friend." And I think he did it twice, actually.
He did.
Yeah.
To solidify that it was his best friend.
And you never get that from men.
No.
Do you really? You never get that from blokes going like, "This is my best friend."
It was wonderfully honest.
I bloody loved it. I couldn't stop smiling. I was like, "That, mate." And we called him out, didn't we? We were like,
yeah.
I don't think I've heard someone do that before.
Like, my best friend, I'd be hurling abuse at him.
That's what we do.
That's what I would do.
You usually go, "Oh, this is Jono. He once shat himself at school."
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's what
Don't
you
be his friend
do.
because he's fucking mine.
That's what you usually do. It's very unique, actually.
If you're not texting them that you hate them regularly, then they're not your best friend.
Yeah. Are you a good friend?
I'd like to think I am.
Yeah.
I'd like to think I am. Yeah, I see a lot of value in having friends. And although, like, family's important and relationships are important, I think there's, like, as long as you have good ties of family, relationships, and there's, like, a triangle. If you have good friends as well. But then, obviously, as well, like, you know, you don't pick your family and relationships can change. But if you have good quality friendships, they'll always be there. They can last the whole lifetime, you know. And it's, you know, when you make a new friend and someone, you're like, "Oh, you're a bit weird and I'm a bit weird. Let's be weird together."
Yeah.
And you just kind of have that moment where you're like, yeah.
It's weird, yeah.
You know, I can see us being friends now for a while. And then you just, you know, years go by and yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. I feel like that would it be fair to say that like value of friendship kind of comes with a bit of maturity when you get a bit older? I think Ireland made me a better friend. Really? Yeah, I think when I was living in England, I wasn't I was a bit of a a crack merchant, always living for like the stories, but a bit of a piss take, and maybe like not a good nurturer of friends. Actually, took them for granted.
Yeah.
I think the right thing is there, but I think the Irish way of living is to be really sound to your friends. That's why I think most Irish people that I know have friends from school still.
Do you think that living in London would have had an effect?
I think there's a general British thing, which is leading with, are you taking the piss? What do you want?
Really?
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I feel like there's the first thing as a bloke that you think if you're English is like, right, what's he looking for? What does he want? Is he trying to shag me missus? Like, does he earn much more money than me? Can I knock him out? Like, you know, there's a
measuring.
Yeah, there's a measuring. There's like, it's everything's competitive. Everything's competitive actually. So when I moved to Ireland, I think I kind of had to learn that, well, in a great way, that not everything's a competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I've had like great friends and great circles of friends and been parts of like, you know, uni mates, school mates, blah blah blah. But I think my strongest connections I've ever made have been since I moved to Ireland.
Wow.
I think that's the Irish people, man.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I think Irish people are terrified that people will think that they have notions, and they're kind of.
That's the opposite of English people.
Do you know? They don't have this entitlement around. Like, they're like, oh, I wouldn't want to make a fuss. Do you know? And they're just like, and I think as well because Irish people for so long didn't have anything. All they had were mates. Like, you didn't have, like, up until even as a child, right? You'd have 3 stations on the telly. It wasn't a materialistic thing. We were a third world country in the 80s, so like. When you have fuck all to do, all you have is your mates to sit around and talk shite to.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they've had, and then obviously Irish people tend to have larger families as well. So when you have larger families and they all have friends and, you know, kids, your house becomes like a halfway house.
Yeah.
So there's always people in the house, like kind of like Irish and Italians almost. There's kind of, you can see kind of similarities in that sense where you have big families and people kind of in and out of the house and stuff like that. Which unfortunately now obviously it becomes more developed. That's kind of becoming less and less. Families are getting smaller and you've got urbanization. People are getting, you know, but there will always be, like, there will be always a thing where they kind of value friendship.
Yeah.
Which is what I love about. And I think that, you know, when you get to Ireland, although there's places in the world that are fucking brilliant, but when you get to Ireland, you just realize there's a vibe about like the place where, like, do you know what?
Yeah, I think you lead with the kind of notion that no one's out to get something from you.
Yeah.
Like a great example of this, and we'll talk about we'll get into poetry in a second. But what's interesting is the experience after a night out in a kebab shop. That is the measuring stick. Because in England, you don't want to go. You don't want to go because you don't know who's there, and it all kicks off in the kebab shop after 3 a.m. in some dog shit city in the middle of nowhere in England. You could bump into anybody.
Yeah.
Actually, the only trouble I've ever been in, it's always been in kebab shops in the UK. In Ireland, on fucking Camden Street, Babylon, it's a nightclub.
Yeah.
I want to go there. I'm like actually excited. I'm like, right, can we wrap it up here? Because Babylon's down the road. There's cheesy chips, a kebab, and probably a bit of crack.
It's in the pub afters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's Irish though. I think that's very specifically an Irish thing.
Yeah. You know when you're like in the kebab shop or a chip or whatever it is, and people are like bumping into each other and they're like, did you have a good night? People you've never met before. Did you have a good night? Oh, we were here. And people they're so chatty. And they're like, you know, they want you, you have a lovely night. I'll see you later anyway. And off they go in a fucking tuk-tuk somewhere. God knows where into the night. That's what I love about it, you know. Just, as I said, there's a vibe about the place. People are just more open, I think. And
they are. No, they're absolutely 100% are.
And even Dublin, which is like a capital city, it's still a fucking village compared to the rest of the world. And it has that kind of village mentality where it's
warm. People want to find out what you've been up to.
Yeah. It's lovely.
Speaking of the power of bonds through strangers, I saw that you had, so I knew that the gym that you went to, you were part of like I don't know what you even call it. It's like a movement of mental health, openness towards the members, where they can come and there's created in the gym like a kind of attitude like anyone can talk to anybody because that's what keeps you going kind of thing. But then specifically, there's the DMC club.
DMC club, yeah. So it's very, very special kind of group that was set up by a lot of the coaches in the gym. So you don't have to be a member of the gym to come along. It's open to any man. And basically they come in and we lift dumbbells, we do bicep curls, we do benching, we do deadlifts, we listen to rock music, and there's parts of that, but it's not just all about that. It's also a place where men can come together and they can talk about if there's that bothering them. They're now starting to do training. There's an online course being offered that's free, where it's basically like suicide awareness kind of training.
Wow.
That they're offering the lads to basically educate them that if there's anybody in the gym, not that they, it's to how to spot and how to prevent, if someone's struggling, to kind of what to do in that scenario. So it's all about that kind of, and then a lot of the workouts that we would do would be tailored around sharing the burden, sharing the load. It's easier. A burden's always easier when you're sharing it with somebody else. So if you speak to somebody, because men don't talk about their feelings. It's not a thing that, it's not common amongst men. Now it's starting is too, but not quick enough. So they set it up.
What a great place to have it, because like I'm in like a class-based gym, and like if no one's speaking, it is shit, because like you do need that kind of lubrication to even like enjoy the class. Like if no one's having the chat, no one's speaking, it's actually shite. I think the reason is people are nervous of showing their vulnerabilities, aren't they? Like, I don't want to show that I can't lift this dumbbell, or like I don't want to like get lapped on the circuits and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So to have people step out their comfort zone and then speak openly, not just about whether or not you can, how fast you can go on the bike, but speak about your life. It's quite amazing, really. It is, again, and the reason why I've been part of the gym for 5 years, that particular one, is because it's all class based as well. So CrossFit is mainly class based. So you're in a class of 14 people or 13 people, whatever it is, and I've been there 5 years. It was a small gym. Now it's gotten a lot bigger. It's grown organically over the years. But because it's class based, they're all your mates. I've gone on holidays with people I've met in that gym. Amazing. We go for pints. We were at Damo Dempsey there like 2 weeks ago in the Ivy Gardens, and most of the people there were actually all the people there I met in the gym. So like we do things, and then the DMC was a great club it was set up by the owner, Gar Shields. Shane Kelly's one of the coaches, and Anto Kane as well. So like they were all fundamental in the kind of setup of this. But like they run it, they coordinate, they organise the stuff, but they get men together. We went on a trail run around Howth Head, and we had weight vests on, and we were all passing the weight vests along, because obviously it's easier to share the load. There's always a mission or a method to the tailoring of the programming, basically. So, and it's just great that like there's lads that are 20, 19, and there's lads that are 40, 50, 60 that are also, and they're all side by side. Some of the lads have injuries, some of the lads can't lift. One lad had a fucking dislocated ankle from 2 weeks ago, and he was still there, and he was still like, getting involved in what he could. So like, because it's good for you, always feel better afterwards, and the way lads, when they get together, your IQ drops by like 20%. You start talking absolutely, like, it's like Planet of the Apes basically for about an hour, but you feel better afterwards. You do feel better. So we when the thing got established, they were all kind of, we went out afterwards, and the lads were like, "Oh, Leon, you should write a poem." And I turned to them and I was like, "I already have." So being around them and being in that environment and realising how, because I've lost mates to suicide, and a lot of lads in that gym have. So like, they know what it's like, and I know how important it is things like this are for men and for people and for society, because it's not just men that are affected by, suicide and stuff like that. So so you already had something that you wrote to celebrate the gym. So I remember I was at home one day and I was thinking about it, and it just kind of came, like, how does any poem really come to you? But it just kind of arrived, and I was like, I need to write this down, and I wrote it down. And then I was chatting to Gary, who's the owner of the gym, and I was like, I want to read this out to you. And he was like, this is something. And he goes, do you mind if we get the lads involved? And I was like, 100%. I was like, well, it's all about the lads. It's not just about, look how great I am as a fucking poet. No, it was like, it's about all of us. And that's what makes it, is all of us, not one person. So we got the lads together, a couple of them, and we got them to record certain pieces of the poem. And we made a video about it. And it's on the CrossFit Santry page, so people can check it out on Instagram if you want to see the video. Video is fantastic as well. Carter and Natalie did a great job. They're videographers, they put it together. But the lads all got involved, and it's brilliant. So we'll play a snippet or the poem. So this is the poem. This is the from DMC you poem. And the lads at the DMC club. Yeah, I love to share. CrossFit Santry. Why do I keep going? Why do I keep showing up?
Cold mornings with the wind blowing, I don't want to get up. Few cracks and clicks as I rise from the sheets to the feet.
Yet I keep pushing, grinding, grunting with a smile and never stop, never bend, never break.
And there's days when it's harder than others. And there's days when it's fucking harder than others.
But we persist, and with clenched fists we climb. Over the top, eyes up, jaw set. Might feel resistance, but never regret.
With every callus formed on each hand, delayed onset muscle soreness or ripped palms.
And when it's done and you rest, it's the best feeling you could ask for.
Even on those dark days, with a hell from the black dog, we head on. We push, yet we don't run from the Madra Duff.
Instead we chase it down, step by step, inch by inch, until it can go no further.
And you stand above it, but carry on. Because even when the body breaks, the mind remains strong to linger on.
That's why we keep going. That's why we keep showing up.
That was the DMC poem by the lads at CrossFit Santry. Oh, I don't know whether I want to run or cry.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
It is.
It's really powerful, man.
I can't watch the video without crying, so I don't watch it.
Yeah. It's great to hear lads just being a bit fucking vulnerable and going, you know what, and like, to be fair, the hardest thing about working out is the anxiety of before. It always feels great when you're doing it. Yeah. But I really got a sense of like that kind of down like feeling that you have when you know you have to go but you don't want to go, but it's like, right, no, we're going. We are going. And
that's it. Like, and DMC, obviously Deep Meaningful Conversation Club as well, so like there's a lot of different, you know, and it's resilience. It's teaching yourself resilience, but you're also bonding with people of a like mind, people that want to be there, to better themselves, to have a bit of crack, not have any, you know, no notions. And if you go in with like you never leave in a bad mood. You go in a bad mood, you'll always leave in a great mood.
Yeah.
And I think people need that in their lives. When you have, no matter what it is, it could be fucking golf, it could be painting, it could be paper mache, I don't know what it is, but like, if you
something have to get you out the grind,
something that's just a hobby that you do that makes you feel better, it's just, you know. And to see that's one of the first projects I've done where I'm working, like, I've done projects where I would be the one doing the poetry and I'm working with a musician, or I'm working with a videographer or something like that. But I've never done a project where I'm working with people to coordinate like a performance of that level, of getting, like, you know, I think there's 6 lads involved, and then there's the videographers, and then, you know, whatever like that. So but it came alive, and it only came alive with everyone. It wasn't me. It was my words, but the lads gave a piece to themselves as well. Everyone did, and that's what makes it so special, I think. That, and the cause that it's for, it's raising awareness for something that is very, very important, and people need more of it. There should be a DMC club in every gym. Yeah. You know, and like, just for lads to check in.
Yeah, listen, if you listen to this and you go to a gym, maybe, I don't know, bring it up. Could be a whole global movement. It starts here.
Know, like, yeah, and it's just because it is a pandemic that's happening, and there needs to be intervention like something like this for all over the place, not just in Dublin, you know.
Yeah, agree, man. I loved it. I loved it. Well done, mate, for getting involved in that.
Thank you very much.
Talking about like the power of like friendship and bonding. I remember I knew we were going to talk about friendship, and I had this poem in mind that I read so ages ago from the writer Emily Brontë.
All right.
Who wrote Wuthering Heights. The only book she wrote was Wuthering Heights, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Which is wild, but it's not that wild. She died at 30 years old. Oh. So, you know, I'm sure if she was born in 1815 or something like that. So, like, people don't live that long.
I'm 22 and haven't written any book. So, you know, she's doing all right.
She's doing all right.
But she was doing all right.
She wrote a poem called Love and Friendship. And I guess it kind of helped me try to figure out, like, why why there isn't more art about friendship. And I remember listening to Dua Lipa. Have you ever listened to Dua Lipa's podcast?
No.
Brilliant.
She's a podcast.
Yeah, it's an interview podcast. It's not like two lasses getting together and chatting about lads. Like it's really good. It's produced by the BBC, and she has a section where she talks about like why there is not enough art about the value of friendship. Like what, and it's weird because like she writes amazing pop music.
Yeah.
None of it's about friendship. So I don't know, I'm waiting for that friendship song to like come and like hit me for six. But I just wonder why there isn't more art about friendship.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we at the start of this podcast, I read out a poem from Yeats.
Yeah.
W.B. Yeats about it was called the Lover Pleads with His Friends for Old Friends. It was like a poem about like friendship being something that you'll always kind of yearn for. But I don't remember ever listening to a song that's about your mates or that much literature.
You're right. Yeah,
not really much going on.
I'm sure there is, but nothing is jumping out at the moment. That's just like offhand. Like someone said, you know,
maybe coming of age films, maybe that you
Stand By Me. But even then, like it's fucking tragic. Like you know, Stephen King wrote that.
Oh,
Stand By Me. Yeah.
I'll read this one out to you. It's from Emily Brontë, and it's called Love and Friendship. Love is like the wild rose briar, friendship like the holly tree. The holly is dark when the rose briar blooms, but which will bloom most consistently? The wild rose briar is sweet in spring, its summer blossoms scent the air. Yet wait till winter comes again, and who will call the wild briar fair? Then scorn the silly rose wreath now, and deck thee with the holly sheen, that when December blights thy brow, he still may leave thy garland green.
That was Love and Friendship by Emily Brontë.
Do you like that?
Very naturalistic, I love it.
I really like that.
It reminded me of I was with my ma and dad yesterday, and my dad has shown me all the pictures on his phone. He's been taking pictures of wildflowers.
Oh.
And like they're lovely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
That's what it reminded me of, all them flowers and all the natural kind of scenes. He's taking pictures of bees. He's got some deadly camera on his phone because the bee looks like they're just like sitting there.
It's a good hobby to pick up, man.
Yeah, wildflowers. Never thought I'd see him doing
lovely.
it, but he loves a bit of photography. He does, you know.
Is he, yeah?
Friendship and yeah, it's a lovely poem.
Yeah, it's good visuals. Like you kind of think, oh yeah, the like friendship is the thing that's always gonna kind of be there. But like a little bit like the ivy, the holly, you never really, you don't like water it. You don't like feel like you ever need to nurture friendships. So it's like a forgotten, kind of disregarded thing of your life.
Yeah.
Which,
Friendship is evergreen, all year round.
Indeed.
There you go. There's a little mini poem. You can put that on your wall.
Write that down.
Put it on my
wall.
Stick it on your wall there. You can carve it in. Don't tell them missus.
It's right there, man. We've got to nurture our friendships.
And do you know what? Actually, because going back to friendship, when we went to the poetry lunch, and a lot of us in that room met for the first time.
Yeah.
But we'd had conversations online. So when I met Sean, because that was strange enough, it was the first time after talking to him for I don't know how long online, it was the first time I ever met him in person, and a few other people as well. And same with Lee Sheridan actually as well. It was the first time I ever met him in person, and having conversations on the phone and talking, you know. And it's like an electronic pen pal.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. I was like, I felt like I know you ages, which I have, but I'd never met them in real life. And then you meet them and you're like, there's no awkwardness because you've already talked to them enough times virtually that you're like, you know.
Yeah, like Steve Maguire, I never met him in person.
Yeah.
Dublin writer. And I saw his eyes and he saw mine and he clocked me and just immediately gave me a hug.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it's weird because like I watch a show called 90 Day Fiancé. You ever seen this show, right? It's a TV show where it's a dating show where mostly Americans, but sometimes they go around the world, are on their phone all day. And they are in love with people they never met. So I'm watching this show. Yeah, and the show's a documentary about like, oh, I'm going to meet up finally with, not well, some of them do get catfished, but it's more like a documentary about like them individuals, and like they obviously film the dates as well, but it's more like, you know, the kind of story of the couple who usually aren't with each other. And like I watch it judging, I'm watching it all the time. Like, some people don't deserve a phone. Get off your fucking phone. All you're doing is bloody wanking to your phone all day. This stranger, like, you're wasting your life. But then I'm thinking, yeah, there's that. But also, I've built relationships and connections with people that I've never met. It's happened a few times. Maybe it's different because we've got a shared interest, and you're sharing poems, and then you're kind of meeting a person, and then you have something to talk about. So is that different than just like wanting mates because you got no mate? Like, you know what I mean? Like, ugh.
Yeah. And that's just like,
fine balance between like wasting your life, like, you know, nurturing connections with people you can't really meet, and seeing value in connecting with people around the world. What is the line? What's the line? Because there is one.
Well, then if you look at, you've seen the film Her.
I've
seen the film Her.
Yeah, I've seen the film Her.
Which is like, and I was to say, you know, technology and poetry. Like, technology is a vehicle that I would use for poetry. So say, for instance, a lot of the things I'd watch online, say on Instagram. My Instagram's flooded with poems and artists and poets. I write 100% on my phone because of terrible handwriting, but I write on my phone. So I use technology to obviously create art and to watch art and to listen to it and get inspired, and looking at people, say for instance like the likes of yourself, Sean Watmore, Jesse Flood, or, you know, other poets as well, Lee Sheridan, and all these, Steve Maguire, all the people that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But like, you'd watch their stuff online and go, oh, that's cool, and it gives you kind of I want to do that as well. Whereas if you're at home, you know, trying to be a poet, reading books and stuff like that, you can't really relate to Yeats, can't really relate to Oscar Wilde as much as he was the Darndale boxing champion 2016. Like, he'd get sparked. I don't know. I think he'd have a good guy. I think sparked, he went to jail, man. He's got a criminal conviction.
I think the 10th hardest lad in Darndale would kill Oscar Wilde.
The 10th hardest lad.
Yeah.
Just raised on bricks. Do you know what I mean?
Chance.
But yeah, it's like,
so technology is important, isn't it? Like, it's weird. It's like, because we need it, because that's the way you see the world now. So you find work and you create work and you share your work, but then you don't want to get too into technology, because then all you do is I don't know, it's like an echo chamber. Like, you know, you don't want to be staring at it too much. So you have to find external influences and maybe personal adventures that you go on. You know, living a bit bigger. That's the thing about the phone. It's like, it's a window of the world, but it's
not the world.
Not a human experience.
It's not the world.
No,
it's just a window, as you said.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, when there's poetry in people, it's like, I love people watching, and my brain creates scenarios, and you can watch someone and how they walk and be like, what's that person doing? Why are they walking kind of hunched over, closed up kind of body language? Are they like the weight of the world on their shoulders? Are they burdened by something? Why do they not look anybody in the eye? Are they a bit kind of, have they got low self-esteem? Will they have many friends? And your brain just does this. Your brain just does this.
Your brain.
No, like, then you have like someone who'd be like, you know, open kind of shoulders, and they're swanning around, arms back, you know, head tilted upwards and stuff like that. And it's like, they must have, and you're making assumptions by just people walking, and you're never going to talk to these people. But
there's
it's just
poetry in people, man.
There is poetry in people, I think. Yeah, I'll read out a poem by Sean Watmore, since we've been talking about him enough.
Yeah,
about friendship.
Well, that's handy. Well, so, we heard it. He was and his mate was in the audience as well when he dedicated it to him, didn't he? So
it was so wholesome, that wasn't it?
That was a lovely day. Yeah,
like, if I release a collection, it was going to be more like fucking just loud people having gargle in a pub. Where his was doing that, but it was daytime and it was more sophisticated, and there was like families there, and it was real nice and wholesome. Do you know? So,
beautiful. Met new friends. Great.
Yeah. Right. So, Time Spent Turning by Sean Watmore, from his new collection, Buried Beds and Bicycle Frames, out now. The earth can turn an entire rotation between each of its sides facing the moon. Yet, upon each meeting, after general greeting, their timeless dance they simply resume. So, just like the moon, I may not see you throughout all of my time spent turning, but when I do, I am glad with you. This friendship of ours needs no relearning.
That was Time Spent Turning by Sean Watmore.
Just lovely.
Yeah, and he's right as well. And he's lucky to have friendships like that where he doesn't need to nurture them or worry about them. Like, we all have friends where you don't need to see them, and then when you do, you slip right back in.
Yeah, there's one mate I've had since we were about 4, and I remember coming back from Germany, and I hadn't seen him in about 8 months, and I walked into the pub and he was like, you're back. And I went, yeah. He went, that's good. And he just turned around. Never asked me how it was.
No,
what was I up to? Didn't care.
Yeah.
But I was like,
no pressure.
This is great.
Yeah, you
and we just started talking about something fucking stupid.
Oh, brilliant. That was like me recently. I went to Paris to see the Olympics, and I went with the guy that a friend that I met at uni who I lived with in my last year of uni.
Yeah.
And you forget how long ago that was. I'm 36 now. That was when I was like 22.
Wow.
So I met him for the first time in years because he moved to Taiwan in Birmingham Airport, and I saw him and he was waiting for me outside like the Burger King, like in the airport at departures. And I've not seen him maybe I think it was like 6 years that's last seen him.
Yeah.
And we just hugged and we said, what are you having for lunch? I was like, do you fancy Burger King? He was like, nah. I was like, let's go Wetherspoons. And we got an Egg McMuffin. Well, Spoon's knockoff of an Egg McMuffin.
Yeah.
Sat down and I was like, so, yeah, good to have you back. Yeah, look forward to this. See you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Paris is good, yeah. Is it? Yeah, is it cool? Never been. So you're not even going, oh my God.
Yeah,
those friendships, you just slip back in.
Yeah, that's true friendship.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, we need friendship. Friendship is very, very important.
Of course it is.
Keeps the wheels of life turning a bit more smoother.
Yeah. And speaking of friends, I believe we've made a new one.
We did make a new one. Yeah, we shared a poem on the last episode by Andy Porter. He's now part of our Patreon community as well. So welcome, Andy.
Yup, Andy.
And he was very kind enough to do us a bit of a dedication poem. Now, listen, we don't like to blow smoke up our own arse, really.
Fucking course we do. We
now
fucking
and again,
love it.
Now and
Indulge
again.
us.
Now and again. So we'll end the show with a poem by Andy Porter about this podcast. Before we go into Andy, Leon, thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure, never the shoreline, baby.
Andy, take it away.
The poetry's dead. Snorting a bag of freeze-dried notions, we dip our oars in lyric lotions through an ocean of Malbec and Gorgonzola smells, as the agony ant pens stanzas in the Book of Kells, where words leap like marlin on the wide blue sea. Hemingway, Shakespeare, Wilde, Jay-Z. With Leon, Lord of the Fried Onion Rings, and Ryan every Monday brings fresh jewels from their collected oeuvre, familiar and new voices to discover, taking each listener with a gentle hand, they lead them to that promised land. Was that Dylan Thomas with a villanelle? Who said the poetry's dead? Feckin' hell.